and resource person, Professor Sagar, a good friend of mine and a renowned educationist, an young philosopher, and a man with multi-personality. I don't know how to describe his personality. It's almost like a rainbow. You say you find all colors in his personality. It's not an exaggeration. In fact, if you look at his life very closely, you definitely learn many things from him. A proven sportsman. He has a track record of being a very good sportsman and a man who has a wide experience of having traveled around the world. And he's not only a person who belongs to one discipline, though he belongs to basically to my discipline, that's English, but he has been sharing his expertise, be it with philosophy, be it with education, be it sports psychology, every field, he is the most wanted resource person. And it's a matter of great pleasure for me to introduce today's resource person, Professor Sagar, AH. And he has indeed a very illustrious career so far and has a most, should I say, rich background of having been studied in different parts of the world, especially in England, be it Edinburgh or London. Wherever he went, he never failed to learn something from life and from the educational institutions. And he had a great chance uh, when he was in London and also in Edinburgh to interact with the most famous linguists, philosophers, and educationists. That speaks in volumes about his crave for knowledge, his hunger for knowledge, because I almost could find in him the hunger that Ulysses had. See, Ulyssesian hunger he has got, but I don't find in him the lotus eaters because many of us are almost adopting the philosophy of lotus eaters. What Mr. Tennyson speaks in his famous poem Lotus Eaters, that after all, what is the end of life? Death. Death brings, see, full point to every activity. But here is a man who thinks that every minute matters much in our life, and he doesn't want to keep quiet. You see, that's why he has been able to speak to more than 3 lakh students. It's really astounding to see the statistical data of Mr. Sagar's contribution to the world of academia, and he has been invited by UGC programs and the VTU programs and almost all state universities in our Karnataka have invited him as a resource person to train the professors, to train the principals, and he is a enthusiastic participant and very keen in participating such activities whenever he is invited. And he is a very eloquent speaker, and you definitely fall in love with his language. And he's a man of, as I told you, rainbow colors, and you will learn much about him the moment you start to listen to him. Uh, Otherwise, you will fail in your duty if you are not able to listen to his 1 hour lecture. That's the intention. Therefore, Professor Sagar, I'm happy to acknowledge that we have received a resounding response from across the country, right from Kanyakumari up to Kashmir. I don't say from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, uh, because uh, I think we have got registration up to 465 teachers. 456 teachers have registered for this 7-day capacity building program. And I'm sorry that we are not able to accommodate all the people. That's why we have made an arrangement to record the entire proceedings and upload it to the YouTube, that we are going to share the link very soon. And it is also going to be telecast live on Facebook. Both our technical professors, Professor Shastri from Department of Computer Science and Dr. Basuraj from Department of Chemistry, are really doing a wonderful job daily in connecting all the states rather. We have participants coming across the state, not only Karnataka, but all the states in the country. Therefore, I wish that today's speaker, Professor A.S. Sagar, will be sharing with you his inputs on time management and adaptability and ability to work under pressure. Of course, the modern days are known for stress, and here are some people, some experts like A.H. Sagar, who can really burst that stress. Therefore, I don't think you don't know how you are going to spend the next 60 minutes. You spend without knowing your own knowledge. So much of absorption will be there in this session. I think now it's time for me to invite Professor Sagar with this brief introduction. And now over to Professor Sagar. Welcome, Professor, to our college. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your introduction is always it motivates me to work harder. You keep me at the pedestal so high. I have to work harder. And yeah, just a second till I share my screen and then we'll get started. Yeah. Can you all see my screen?
Of course, sir.
Fantastic.
Our kade sir disturbance.
Just give me a second. Okay. I won't be sharing my video because I'll be speaking close to the laptop so that you can hear me properly. Can you all hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's get started. Very happy to be here. Professor Dole Gowda is a good friend and he's been always very encouraging and motivating. In the midst of the education, in the midst of all the complications, where all sorts of things go on in the field of education, Professor Dole Gowda has been a role model. You know, a person whom I call he's not corrupt. He's upright. He's straightforward, and I like to be associated with such people. So when he asked me to come down and speak to you all, I was delighted. So I'm here today to speak to you all, so that my sound is. I want to make sure that my sound is quite clear. That's why I'm close to the laptop. And if I turn on my video now, when I'm close to the laptop, I would look like a ghost. That's why I've turned off my video and I'm close to the laptop so that I can speak to you properly. Okay, let's get started. Management.
Sir, please turn on your video, sir.
I am very close to the laptop, so if I turn on the video now, it won't be appropriate. In the question and answer section, I'll turn it on. Okay?
Sir, it's okay. All the participants, they can see your face, sir. Please.
I can't.
It's okay. We'll get started. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
when we say time management, adaptability, ability to perform under pressure, as you can glance over there, I put a question mark. People might be wondering why a question mark in the midst of all this. You know, it's straightforward. These are simple terms, but then are they simple terms, or are these terms being imposed? Is there anything contradictory in these terms? These are the kinds of things that I like to ponder upon as a philosopher and studying analytic philosophy, logic. Starting from literature, I went into cognitive neurosciences, education, and I like being multidisciplinary, so I like to raise such questions. Time management, adaptability, and ability to perform under pressure. Is it? Do we really need it? I'll address both the aspects today. To get started. Okay. Richard Feynman. People who haven't heard about Richard Feynman should certainly look him up. He's a Nobel laureate, and he's one of the greatest physicist, one of the greatest physicists on the planet. Richard Feynman was, he is a quite unbelievable character. He's quite an unbelievable character. Uh, in fact, what he did was, when he was in NASA, he was also in NASA. They used to give him pass to go inside NASA, but he was such a creative person that he used to forego his pass and try to find a way to get inside NASA, breaching the security so that he can point out the mistakes, in the security in NASA. That's the kind of person he was. And he said, study hard what interests you study hard what interests you in the most undisciplined, irreverent, and original manner possible. This is a very profound statement by such a great personality. Look what he says. He says, study hard what interests you in the most undisciplined, irreverent. What do you mean by irreverent? Don't worship people who teach you, or don't, once you start worshiping, you stop questioning. Okay, whatever you start worshiping, you stop questioning and you just follow blindly. So Richard Feynman says, study hard what interests you in the most undisciplined, irreverent, and original manner possible. Why does he say undisciplined manner? He says undisciplined because if you walk on the same old beaten path, you won't discover anything new. You won't come up with original ideas. That's why he wanted people to study in the most undisciplined manner so they can take the road not taken. We always quote this poem by Robert Frost. We say that we ought to take the road not taken, two roads diverged in the woods. We always say that, but at times when our students take the road not taken by many people, we frown upon it. We get really upset. We are scared. We do all sorts of scaremongering, including parents and other people. That, oh my God, if you take this path, there is a high chance that you might fail. And at the same time, we are teaching road not taken. These kinds of irony prevails. So Richard Feynman, you have to look it up. I'll bring up many other quotes of Richard Feynman today. I introduced one. I usually introduce one such person in every lecture of mine. So today I will also quote some of his books, which you can certainly look up. So don't forget this line. Study hard what interests you most in the most undisciplined, irreverent, and original manner possible. Next. What do you think about, when you look at this picture, what do you think? Glance at this picture. It's quite interesting in itself. I love it. It says a lot. What this picture actually demonstrates is, on the left-hand side, you can see a young girl. She's assembling parts of a plane, okay, of an aeroplane. And how is she assembling it? She's assembling it by looking at the manual. Okay, the manual says assemble part A to part B. Step 2, you have to glue these pieces securely. Step 3, find part C and connect to part D. That's what she's following thoroughly, meticulously, without missing a beat. Whereas on the right-hand side, you have a curious boy. I mean, these kinds of curious boys are found in the last benches of the classroom. In the first benches of the classroom, you find yes masters. Whatever the teacher says, they say yes sir. Jump into the well, yes sir. Hang yourself, yes sir. But these last benches which you see on the right hand side, the curious child, he is not looking at the manual, although there is a manual given and the teacher has told him, look at the manual and assemble the plane. No, but he is visualizing, he is dreaming, he is imagining an aeroplane which he has seen in real life and he is trying to build it. Okay, it may take long, it may take a while, but what do you think is better? What step do you think is better here? Of course, the girl on the left-hand side may achieve to assemble the plane earlier, but what about originality? What about creativity? What about visualizing? These kinds of things, I think, are extremely important. And as educationists, as the educationalists who try to inspire students in the classroom, I think these are the things we ought to focus on. That's why I personally feel, based on my experience. Next, time management. Now we are entering the world of time management. Everywhere, everyone says you have to manage time. Oh my God, time is precious. Time is money. Time is that. Time is this. Whereas there are people, like people in literature and philosophy, who say that, look, once you're involved in something, you have to keep going in depth. Like, for example, I can talk about Descartes. If you haven't heard about Descartes, a great philosopher, you should look it up. Descartes had a problem. He questioned his own existence. How do I know I exist? Descartes thought. You can ask me why Descartes is important in this era. but I might tell you linguistics, anthropology, sociology, psychology, and even cognitive sciences owes a lot to Descartes. His ideas prevail till date in all these departments, and even further. Even in machine learning, we have brought in some ideas of Descartes. Descartes wrote a book called Meditation, and his question was, how do I know I exist? He locked himself in the room and he kept thinking, looking at the ceiling. And the best idea he came up with was, I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. I don't know if you would have brought in time management to Descartes, whether he could have written meditation or not, I'm not quite sure. But that's how philosophers, researchers, many researchers get lost in the different world. You know, they're unaware of time. It is okay. It is okay. Just because mainstream media keeps telling you that, oh my God, you have to manage time, time is money, doesn't mean you have to swallow it right away. There are other sect of people like literate people, philosophers, and many other scientists who are lost in their own world, who are unaware of time, date, even year many times. It is okay. Many of you even know that Einstein wasn't aware of many things going on around him. Okay. However, in time management, the people from corporate world, right, they like introducing these fancy graphs. Okay, the one you have in front of you now is called the prioritization delegation matrix. In this, they always tell you, if you want to manage time, then you have to prioritize what is important and what isn't. So if you look at this, you can see on the top right hand corner, you have high priority and must do things. And in the and below, you can see on the right hand side, there are low priority, which I would do. Okay, not must. And on the left hand side below, you see low priority, could do. Okay, and on the top left hand side, high priority, should do. They even bifurcate the difference between should do and must do. Okay, should do it is very different than I must do it. Okay, I should do it. I should publish papers so that I can get some promotion or something. If that's what you want, if you really want to do original research, then you won't be worried about such things. And could do, yes, I can do it. I may not, and I would do it, but I need some time. And must do is when you get the orders. Usually, they say you have to do it, otherwise you might lose your job or something as such. Then you have to prioritize these things, we are told, so that it becomes easier for us when we delegate work. Then we have how can we prioritize? It is usually said that you can create a schedule. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm just telling you what all prevails. Okay, I'll present my personal opinion. At the same time, I'll tell you what people do to manage time as well. So I'll do both. Okay, people say you create a schedule, like you have a timetable in college. You can also have your own timetable, and then make time for yourself. What they say is, after creating a timetable, don't keep all the time and don't be lost in doing work. Take care of yourself as well, and get yourself in a routine. Okay, and write down goals. Get yourself in a routine. What do you think about that? I'm not quite sure about get yourself into routine, because I'm not a person who gets myself into routine. I like to make new things every day. I don't follow routine. That's why I use a lot of humor in my classroom. And the students always enjoy, they laugh and learn, because I travel a lot. You don't know when I'm in India. You don't know when I'm in a different country. You don't know when I'm in a forest. You don't know when I'm on a mountain. You don't know when I'm cycling. You don't know when I'm motorbiking. I'm like that. Okay, but I don't expect you to be like that. It's your choice. You think about it. I'm not a routine kind of person. Okay, I explore, I travel. I like to get lost. You know why like to get lost? Because in finding my way back, I always come across something new. So I like to be lost. I'm not the person who holds a map and says always, oh, take a right, take a left, you have to go this way. Don't be lost. Oh my God, we are lost. I'm panicking. I don't do that. I don't panic. I like to be lost, and I like to talk to local people and get my way back. Okay, so I'm just telling you what different kinds of people there are. You can't impose something on people. As teacher, you present all different ideas and let our students choose themselves. Our students are adults, they have a choice. So we make them independent thinkers. We present all the choices and let our students choose what they think is the best. Okay, so we can't impose. We can't say that, oh my God, you need to create a schedule, make time for yourself. You can't. You just introduce it to them and leave it to them. Okay. They always say that you have scheduled breaks. It's important to take breaks in the middle of whatever you're doing, because when you're too close to something, you don't get a bird's eye view. So it's always good to step back and look at things and get a bird's eye view so that things are much more clearer. Avoid procrastination. Again, they say avoid procrastination, but when your vice chancellor or when your HOD is sitting on your head and dancing, asking you to do something, it's very hard not to procrastinate. So it's very difficult to manage that. But yeah, there are steps which I'll suggest which might help you to avoid procrastination later. Your plan, allow time for fun activities, make a to-do list. It's important to make a to-do list. If you don't want to forget, then study in a regular pattern. Again, that I'm not quite sure about that, because I don't study in a regular pattern. It is told that you should study in a regular pattern, but I have my own pattern of study, and that's taken me from a small place in India to around the world. So you think about your patterns. I don't study in a pattern. I study whenever I feel like. Okay, whenever I'm passionate, whenever I love it. Okay, I'm a man who's driven by love. Okay, not by rules. Nobody can order me to do something. They can only tell me with love and affection, because I'm only driven by love. That's my philosophy. You can come up with your own philosophies. Then work when you are at your best. Okay, when you're in good mood, when you're best, then when you're happy, that's when the best work comes out of you. That's what I believe as well. Because if I'm a happy teacher, when I go to the class, I'm smiling, I'm happy, I can make my students happy, I can make them fall in love with the subject. Okay, that's all teachers ought to do. They should make students fall in love with the subject. Okay, I'll give an example for that. If a boy is in love with a girl, you don't have to tell the boy what color rose to give. Okay, the boy will find out. Similarly, if a boy or a girl is in love with physics, chemistry, biology, sociology, anthropology, philosophy, philanthropology, then you don't have to tell the child what to do. The students will explore. Okay, so teacher's duty is not to finish the syllabus or to kill the syllabus. Teacher's duty is to inspire students fall in love with the subject. So work when you are at the best. Okay, don't have a fight at home and go to the class and regurgitate all your anger on your students. Okay, then exercise to relieve stress. That's very important. I believe in that. If you work out a lot, if you are, imagine you work all day in college under different kinds of environment, you might have different problems in college, but when you go home, you'll have different kinds of problems, again, family issues and other things. But if you work out, if you go for a jog, if you do fitness, okay, then you'll get a good night's sleep. So it's extremely important for you to work out so that you get a good night's sleep. A good night's sleep can make a big difference. Okay, you can get it when you have physical activity. Okay, reward yourself when you complete something. Okay, if you sense of achievement, if you have completed something, pat your own back. Don't expect people to like it on Facebook or Instagram. Oh my god, I got only 10 likes. Oh my god, I got only 20 likes. Don't worry about that. Pat your own back, inspire your own self. Okay, small things like give yourself a chocolate, say treat yourself. That'll be much better. Keep stress to minimum. Again, I always tell you that if you're not happy doing something, always look for alternatives. Okay, keep the stress to minimum. Don't get overstressed. Life is very short. COVID-19, none of you expected. You all thought it's a great generation, nothing can happen. When I used to go for talks to schools and colleges, and when I used to tell them you should use handkerchief when you sneeze, please use a handkerchief. When I used to tell before COVID, people used to laugh at me. Oh, look at this boy. He has come from England. He's telling us what to do. And now look at everyone. They're wearing masks and running around. That's why it's extremely important to follow these aspects, even when there is nothing like COVID. Okay. That's why I call it post. I don't call it post-COVID when I go for my presentations. I call it post or co-COVID, because we are not quite sure whether COVID is going to go away. So we have to learn to live with COVID. So keep your stress to minimum. Take hygienic steps all the time, not just when COVID is there. Even when COVID is not there, you should take hygienic steps. Okay, then work a set number of hours a day. Okay, you know what? Initially, corporate companies and other companies used to make people work for 15 hours, 16 hours. I'm also told even now they do. However, there are rules now. You're not allowed to work more than 7 to 8 hours. Okay, there are rules now. Organizations have come and set up rules. So try to work as minimum as possible. Leisure is extremely important. it's not how long you work, it's how productive you are when you work. That's more important. You can work for 3 hours and be more productive than many people who work for 8 hours and just laze around. They spend most of the time on Facebook and Instagram. Even in college, I've seen it in your school, college staff rooms. And then they go to the classroom and say, "Hey, you, why are you looking at the phone?" They are looking at the phone in the staff room all the time. How can they go to the class and tell students not to look at Facebook and Instagram? So unless you talk what you walk and practice what you teach, you can't impose it on others. Okay, you can't tell students to do that. Don't panic if you fall behind. If you have some deadlines and if you fall behind, always try to stay calm and composed. Okay, only then it will be easier for you to reach your goals. Okay, again, I would like to reinforce what people in the corporate say. I would like to reinforce. I might not strongly believe with it, but I'm going to tell you what they say, and then we'll discuss about it. See, create a daily plan. This is reinforcing. I've also told you this before. Peg a time limit to each task. Keep a time limit. Don't just get carried away, they say. But if I'm writing a poem, if I'm writing a philosophy paper or logic or something, I get carried away. Okay, I don't keep track of time. That's my thing. But here they say make a time limit to each task. 1 hour physics, 1 hour chemistry. Maybe if that's how you like to do it. I think, for example, physics, chemistry, they are all interrelated. So if I get lost in one subject, I relate it to everything else. Okay, that's how I do. You think about how you want to plan it. Use a calendar, use an organizer, know your deadlines, learn to say no. See, this I think is very important. Learn to say no. Many of us are very shy to say no. Sometimes you have to learn to say politely, "I'm sorry, I love you, you're a very good friend, but unfortunately, I have to do something, so I can't help you in some way or another." You have to learn to say no. It's extremely important in a polite way. In a polite way. I don't mean in a rude manner, but you have to learn to say no and make your own time for your work. Okay? Target to be early. Try to get the work done early rather than be late. Time box your activities. Again, it's repeating itself. Have a clock visibly placed before you. This they say is a simple trick. Okay. It's important to keep track of time. That's what they're saying, because as I said in the beginning, the motto that the corporate companies follow is that time is money. All the literature people hate it. Literature people hate comparing time with money. Corporate people always say time is money. So different views. Set reminders 15 minutes before. Okay, if you want to do something, always set a reminder so that you'll know well in advance when you have to do some work. Stay focused. Block out distractions. Okay, some people, I have met some people in England who like to listen to music and work. They say it motivates them. I can't complain because they are some of the greatest scientists. So I can't go to them and tell, "Don't listen to music, you will not get good marks." Because they are already at the top of the world. They're doing wonderful research. And from school days, they've been listening to music and doing work. So sometimes, as you see, there are no steadfast rules. Okay, what works to you, you have to identify what works the best to you and try to make the best of it. Track your time spent. Don't fuss about unimportant things. Prioritize. Again, the repeating. Delegate. See, this is something I think is very important. Even scientists, philosophers, everybody do this. You know what you ought to work on and what work can be delegated to others, what you can give to others, so that you can focus on something which you think is more important and get the work done by others in a very polite manner. Batch similar tasks together. If you are doing similar tasks, then you can bunch it up together. You can bring it up together. So that makes it easier. You don't have to multitask and break your head. Eliminate your time wasters. If you have things like, if you're in a habit of always looking at Instagram, Facebook, and other things in the middle of the work, then you can try to find a way to eliminate them and cut off when you need it. I love this. Whenever I want to, whenever I think I need a break, I cut off from the whole world, and when nobody will be able to reach me, and I take a break and I come back reinventing myself. Okay, I like that. Okay, leave buffer time in between. It's time to relax. You take some time to relax so that you can come back afresh. Again, my dear friend Richard Feynman is back. What Richard Feynman says about what we have studied? Richard Feynman has very interesting things. I would rather have questions which can't be answered than answers which can't be questioned. Imagine a great CEO whom you think is a great person comes and says, "This is what you ought to do, and you can't question me on this." Richard Feynman would disagree with it. Richard Feynman says, I would rather have questions which can't be answered. I would think about questions. I would ponder upon questions for which I have to struggle all my life to find answers, then be satisfied with someone else's answers, which I can never question. Look at the importance he places on critical thinking and questioning. The steadfast rules of following something, which I presented before regarding time management, and what some of Nobel laureate says. That's why I'm contradicting, but I'm presenting both so that you can make up your own mind. Okay. Next, what do you think about this? Well, will all the teachers be happy? There are many teachers here today. If one of his students goes to attend an interview, the panelist asked him a question. I see you did well in school, but what real world skills do you have? And the student answers, tests. I can take tests. How many ever tests you can give, I can take. Okay. The student actually thinks that is a real world skill to take tests, because that's what they are exposed to in all their college life. Will you be happy as teachers? Will you be proud about it? Is this the kind of student you want, who's very good at tests and who actually thinks that real world skill is tests? Okay, who has never explored the real world but thinks that taking tests is real world. Okay, is this what you want? We have to think about this. Then see what Richard Feynman has to say about that. Richard Feynman says, we do not know what the rules of the games are. What he's talking about, what does he mean when he say rules of the game? Science tries to understand the world around us. Okay, social sciences tries to make sense of the society that we live in. Okay, humanities talks about cultural aspects of our society and a lot of other aspects in general. So what Richard Feynman says is very interesting here. He says, we do not know what the rules of the game are. Game is what is happening out there. Game is what is going on out there around us. We do not know what the rules of the game are. All we are allowed to do is to watch the playing. It's like wind blowing, raining. We watch it, we observe it, we try to make sense of it. Of course, if we watch long enough, we may eventually come to we can eventually comprehend few rules, catch on to few rules. The rules of the game are what we mean by fundamental physics. Of course, being a physicist, Richard Feynman is talking about physics, but we can take it to all different departments. If you observe closely, we can see what is happening out there. For example, how a child learns language. Okay, and then we can understand simple aspects, because we don't know what the real game is. We are only allowed to observe the game and make sense. This is very profound. Okay, anybody who is interested in research, who wants to do original research, not to get marks and promotions, you have to look into these things and watch it carefully. If you want to be a yes master, then you don't have to worry about such things. You just follow the rules. Okay, do what you're told, be obedient. Okay, but if you want to do original research, okay, if you want to be a path breaker, okay, like Bhagat Singh, like Subhash Chandra Bose, like Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, like Rabindranath Tagore, then you have to carefully read through these lines and try to, as much as possible, try to adopt them. Adaptability, very interesting. You should adapt. What should you adapt to? Imagine you have a leader like Hitler in your college. Should you adapt to him? Should you say yes to everything he says or she says? These are some of the things you should think about. We always use the quotes very nicely to our convenience. We say, be a Roman when in Rome. Imagine you were in Hitler's Germany. Would you be like Hitler in Hitler's Germany? Anne Frank didn't be like that. Anne Frank wrote a wonderful diary. She didn't like what was going on. She didn't become a Hitler in Hitler's Germany. Did she adapt to what Hitler was doing? No, she did not adapt. She did not like what was going on. There are many people in Nazi Germany who did not like what Hitler was doing. They did not adopt it. They challenged what Hitler was doing, because of which they passed away. In fact, when Britishers were in India, many Indians adapted to British rule. In fact, Britishers used Indian soldiers to kill Indian revolutionaries in Jallianwala Bagh. It was Indian soldiers who shot. Of course, it was a British officer who gave the order, but Indian soldiers shot people there. So did they adapt? See, that's why we should not blindly take the word. There are two coins of the same term. You should look it up. What are the corporate things? I'll tell you about that. What are the enemies of adaptability? What should a leader not do so that his followers fail to adapt? The one thing is here, if you look at on the top left hand corner, there's something called hierarchy. If you have an order system where it's a hierarchy, vice chancellor says, that's the word of the god, everyone below has to shut their mouth and follow what the vice chancellor says. That is hierarchy. The CEO says something and everyone else has to follow. That's why Humboldt, a German philosopher, puts it beautifully. Humboldt says human beings are self-searching and self-perfecting beings. Constant external intervention ends up making them a tool of state. You may like what they do, but you'll hate what they've become. Okay? So if you follow rules and only orders and don't do anything original or creative in a hierarchical system, then you may not adopt. You may feel uncomfortable, and many creative people would not like to work in such organizations. They would leave, they would run away because they think there is lack of creativity. You're just following orders, they think. So hierarchy is an enemy of adaptability. If you want your employees or your colleagues to adopt, then don't have hierarchical system, have a democratic setup. In a democratic setup, people will adapt more. Okay? Then you have fear. If fear of being sacked, fear of losing your job, fear of losing something is a big enemy. However, in the corporate sector, you know what they say? They say where there is insecurity, there is more productivity. What do they mean by that? What they mean is if you go home, you should be scared whether you will have your job tomorrow or not. And they think that is productive. I feel where there is security, there will be more creativity. So they're contradictory. Where there is insecurity, there is more productivity. Where there is security, there is more creativity. As a head of the institution or as people who lead, you have to think about whether you want to induce fear in your colleagues or your followers, or you want to induce a lot of love and affection. You have to think about it. Okay? You want to have democratic setup or a setup of fear and hierarchy? Think about it. Decision bias. Decision bias is where the people who are working with you or people who are around you are discontent about your decisions. They are not happy about the kinds of decisions that you're taking. So there is a decision bias, which is also considered to be the enemy of adaptability. And then you have habit. If you make sure all your employees or friends and colleagues or students follow the same habit every day and they are scared of change, if they don't want to change, that's also a problem of adaptability. Okay, change is evident. People should be ready to change regularly. If they don't want to, if they want to be used to the same old thing, then that's also a problem of adaptability. The company cannot survive. See, COVID certainly came, a lot of things changed. If the company is not ready to change and is using same old habit, then it won't survive in such environment. Then centralization, all the power is centralized only in the head of the institution's chamber and the yes masters who surround the head of the institution. Okay, you might have such people in your own institution. There will be one person who has all the power and all the yes masters are around him saying that how great he is. If such institution is there, then naturally the power is centralized and people who are way down the power ladder will feel left out. No, they won't adapt. They won't feel the passion. Okay, and they want to imbibe the vision that you have for the institution. That's a problem as well. Then you have inflexible business practices. This is overlapping. As I said, if your business practices or if you're any, it may be institution. If your practices are not flexible, if they are steadfast, then they can't change. And if they can't change, they can't survive long. Okay, they can't adapt. Okay, so it's extremely important for them to be able to change, be flexible. And rigid structures, very similar. If it's very rigid, then it will break. Okay, best example is a blade of grass and tree. You've heard it many times. Skills deficit. Suddenly COVID-19 came in. Many professors were not used to online teaching. They were not used to using Zoom or a lot of other things. So it was a shock. We had skills deficit. We were not able to reach out. Okay, because we used to always say we should have eye-to-eye contact when we teach our students. Now I can't even see you, and you also can't see me. I don't know how many of you are actually listening. Many of you may just log in for the sake of certificates. We also don't know that, but still we try our best to inspire you as much as possible. So we try to improve our skills to meet the needs of the hour. If we have skill deficit, then it will be a problem again. short-term thinking. Since COVID is not going to go away anytime soon, we have to have a long-term vision to even see how we can take forward education. Whether students will actually come back to schools, will it be the way it is, or will it never be the way it actually was? We have to rethink about it and have vision, mission, objectives, and goals set out thoroughly. Insufficient experimentation. This actually fits in with all the teachers. Many teachers, I feel, they are scared to experiment. They have a notebook which they have got 10 years ago. They come to the classroom and they vomit the same notebook on all the students. And students have become so monotonous, they collect all the puke and they keep it in their books. Okay? And they pass the same notebook to the next year students. And then you want India to have original ideas and for us to come up with our own apples and androids. It won't be possible as long as the teacher keeps the old notebook. Our students will not be able to develop a phone like Apple or Androids. Okay, we have to reinvent ourselves to experiment, take students outside out. I'll introduce you to some methods today in the short time that I have so that you'll get an idea, so that you won't hang on to Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is 50 years old, but still AICT, UGC, and all these bodies are hanging on to Bloom's taxonomy. 50-year-old taxonomy, engineering college has introduced in NBA accreditation. From now on, you have Bloom's taxonomy. What was engineering colleges doing from past 50 years? Was there no education? Now engineering colleges have stepped into education. Now they have started using Bloom's taxonomy, which is outdated, which is so outdated. So a lot of new things have come up. I'll introduce you to some of them as well. Just be ready to these experimentations, to these changes. Okay, lack of diversity. People from all different caste, color, creed, we should be able to accept and bring them into our organization to bring in a lot of diversity. It's extremely important. All your personal bias, your taboos. Oh my God, Africans are like this. Oh my God, Malaysians are like this. Oh my God, Chinese are so bad. We are so good. All these taboos you have to forego. Okay, and I'll introduce you to some things in relation to this. Okay, look at this. What do you think about this? Huh? Stepping out of your comfort zone. Okay, what do you think about that? How many of you are ready to do that? Okay, we are in a ball, and to jump out of the ball is to risk not being able to reach the other ball. You may fall off somewhere. Okay, and you may be fished out of the water. Okay, but how many of you are ready to do this? That's why on the left hand side, if you look at carefully, I've written challenge your preconceptions. You may have a lot of preconceptions about things. Unless you challenge it, nothing can come out of it. If you have one single preconception, that's a clot in your brain. And there are many clots in our brains because we never dare to question what has been taught to us long ago. Forgo taboos. You have many taboos. If you look at Indian cinema, many times Africans, dark people are shown for entertainment. You know, people laugh. Oh my God, dark people, who's going to marry them? That's bad. That's terrible. That's racism. These kinds of taboos you have to overcome. These kinds of taboos and racist ideas and all kinds of things you have to overcome. Then we have some, be ready to learn and change. Okay, I've already mentioned it to you. As long as you're ready to change, it's very difficult to be an inspiring teacher. Okay, and even a learner for that matter. Learn to question yourself. Okay, this has helped me a lot. In fact, I always question myself. Is this correct? Is this what I should do? Is this what I should be doing? Is this how you pursue a research question? Isn't there any other way to do it? Even when I'm presenting, when I write a topic, for example, when Professor Dollegoder gave me a topic, I thought, is this the correct topic for me to present on? Should I make any alterations to it? I questioned myself. How will I define if a student asks a question? Will I be able to define myself? Can I defend this in all different corners of the world? Is it universal? I question all these things and then I do something. So it's extremely important to question yourself when you're doing something. In fact, you have to even question whether I should get married. Okay. Many people here think they're born to be married. Okay. In India, people think achievement is getting married, and their great contribution is to increase the population of the country. So please rethink about that, because we already have too many people in India. Then we are just last thing is we are just earthlings on planet Earth in Milky Way galaxy. What do you mean by earthlings? Earthlings, All living organisms on planet together are called earthlings. Okay, all living organisms together, no hierarchy. Okay, all living organisms together are called earthlings. I can give you an example for that. No snakes or no monkeys or no donkeys have come together, organized themselves and started Second World War or First World War. It is done by so-called human beings, so-called intelligent human beings who came up with plastic and emitting carbon, destroying the planet, where planet is ready to take its wrath now. Show its wrath on us. It's taking its revenge. So unless you talk about earthlings, unless you understand that we are just earthlings, things are going to continue. Remember, this is just a beginning. COVID-19 is just a beginning. IPCC, there is a committee called Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change. Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change has come up with a number, 1.5 degrees. If the temperature goes above 1.5 degrees, there will be environmental reactions which can't be undone, they're told. So it's extremely dangerous. Polar ice caps are melting, sea level is rising, the intensity of tornadoes, hurricanes will increase, droughts will increase, and floods will also increase. People of North Karnataka are not new to floods, and these intensities will increase, and then eventually the nature will have the last word. If you don't want the nature to have the last word, then you better start talking about earthlings together. And next one, coming out of the comfort zone. We have many lists here to come out of the comfort zone. As you can look, as soon as you come out of the comfort zone, the first thing you will face is lowest self-esteem. You find excuses not to do something. And then just ask somebody to sing a song. You know, in school, college, you just ask somebody, sing a song. You might have heard a lot of songs. Why don't you get up and sing? You see how scared they would be, how to sing. You know, initially they'll say that, no, 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 my voice is not good, and they'll have other things. They'll be scared, okay, because that's because of lack of self-confidence. And then as soon as you come out of the comfort zone, the second problem you face is then you need to acquire new skills. Okay, as soon as you're out of the comfort zone, you need new skills to survive. The age-old skills which you have mastered will no longer work. For example, the way you teach in North Karnataka is very different. The way you teach in a coastal region in Karnataka is very different. The way you teach in Punjab is very different. The way you teach in South Karnataka is very different. If you go to metropolitan cities, the way you teach is different. If you go to rural areas, the skills that you need to teach in the class are very different. So as soon as you come out of the comfort zone, you have to acquire new skills. So it's better important for us to extend comfort zone. For example, when I go to rural parts of Karnataka, I speak in Kannada. If I go to North Karnataka, North India, you try to, as much as possible to use Hindi, bilingual. Okay, I try to use Hindi, English, the languages which I know. You know, try to mix it up and use a lot of body language so that it makes better sense to them, because I don't know the local practices. Then you have some things. Then finally, what you need, you find purpose. The final obstacle as soon as you come out of the comfort zone is you need new goals, you need new purposes, and you need new objectives. And all these purpose, goals, and objectives will follow a long-term vision. By vision, I don't mean the vision that you set when NAC committee is coming to your college. That vision is different. The way you dress the college like a bride when the NAC committee is visiting, that's not the vision I am talking about. The vision that you write in the book and put it on the wall and show it to the NAC committee, that is not the vision we want. Want real vision which burns, which doesn't let you dream, you know, which ignites the fire in your heart. That's the kind of vision I'm talking about, not the NAC committee visit visions. We don't want those superficial visions. It's of no use. Then what are the problems you face? You're working with different generations. You can see this in Indian staff rooms. If you go to Indian staff rooms, there are baby boomers. What are baby boomers? Baby boomers are the professors and who were appointed from 1946 to 1964. Okay, these are baby boomers. What they, in general, they say, this is a generalization, they say optimistic, idealistic, company loyalty. They want to stick to one company. They want to work in a single company till they retire. Okay, that is kind of, they call it baby boomers. Then you have Generation X, which is from 1965 to 1980. They are a bit skeptical. They are a little bit independent, and they want to have work and life balance. Okay, and then in the end you have what we call now millennials. Millennials are the people who are achievement oriented. They want to collaborate. They want equality. They have flexible work arrangements. Sir, they will say, okay, they don't want to be commanded. They want to collaborate. You see below, if you see below, the management preferences of all these different generations are different. If you go to baby boomers, they want command. They like command. They want to climb the corporate ladder. If you go to Generation X, their preference is self-command. They want to be resourceful. Whereas if you go to millennials, the youngsters, they don't want command. They want collaboration. Only want to collaborate and work. They don't take commands very well. Okay, they want to build parallel careers. Okay, but in the staff room or elsewhere in companies, we are working with people with all these three generations. So we should be able to adapt to all these three generations. Okay, many a times you might have seen senior teachers come to the classroom and they say, you know, in our time we used to come to the college without chappals. We didn't even have slippers to wear. You know, they tell stories like this. Okay, you might have heard about this. And many a time students find it very difficult to understand what they're talking about. It's very difficult for them because senior professors will be used to movies like Maine Pyar Kiya, in which they say Kabutar Ja Ja. You know what they mean? They used to actually write love letters and tag it to a pigeon and then send it to their loved ones. Now younger generation is using WhatsApp and they're saying I got a blue tick and I still didn't get a reply. Okay, things have changed enormously, so the generation gaps have increased enormously. So to bring them all together is a very difficult task. We have to manage with seniors and Generation X as well as millennials. This is something I like in adaptability, adapting to all these different generations. I have another slide for this. You see, if you look at this slide, it's very nice. Traditionalists, they want to adhere to rules. They want disciplines, family focus, hard work, and trust in the government. Whereas there is Generation X, they want balance, they want diversity, lack of loyalty to an organization, and global mindset they have. They say we are global citizens, like our Kuvempu said, Vishwamanava, Indian Karnataka's poet. Then we have baby boomers. They are anti-war. They are anti-government. They want equal rights. They want involvement and personal gratification. See, this era was also very important. Your 7 hours work. Okay, all these rights came from this baby boomers era who fought against a lot of injustice and got us some rights. That's why you have 7 hours work day now. All these unions and all came in at that time. Okay, then you have social ability and confidence. All these generations, we have to work together. Now you can see what kind of different conflicts we'll have when all these people from different generations work together. So we have to try to find a common ground so that there is no conflict. And healthy discussion is important. Healthy arguments are very important. Rational, healthy discussion. You respectfully agree to disagree. This is very important, I believe. It has worked a lot for me. You say you can respectfully disagree with someone and still be their best friend. You don't have to agree with everyone to be someone's friend. You don't follow the philosophy. You don't say that you're with me or you're my enemy. It's not like that. You can respectfully disagree and still be very good friends. That's extremely important, especially people in workplace and even at home. I'm sure your wives, your children will not agree with everything that you tell, but you all still live together, don't you? That's how it is. Next, work from home. The new thing which is coming, work from home. Teachers never used to experience this work from home, but even teachers are work from home. Now they understand the pressure which corporate people go through because they think work from home is very easy. But as you can look at this poster, working from home can be a nightmare. Our hygiene will go down when you work from home, and all the co-workers that you have from at home, your pets. Okay, you don't change, you don't wash, you forget to talk to humans because you're quarantined all the time at home. Problems that you face when you're at home. I have another slide for this. How to adapt to working environment at home, because you'll have so much distraction. On one hand, there's cooking, your wife, your children, your pets. So in the midst of all this, adapting to a healthy home working environment, working from home environment might be quite a big challenge. I like this slide a lot. I think it's extremely important. As I presented before, it's extremely important to open your mind before you open your mouth. Okay, unless you're broad-minded, unless you fight all your clots. By clots, I mean the ideas which you have never questioned. Somebody has told you, adult has told you, your parents have told you, your grandparents have told you, and you have never questioned it. Unless you question it, think, rethink, question, re-question, learn, unlearn, and relearn, please don't open your mouth, because it won't be good ideas. Okay, so first open your mind, then you can actually open your mouth. But see, I'll present both the ideas here. Sometimes what happens, people say you have an open mind. The problem with having an open mind is, if sometimes the bad ideas come in and push all the good ideas out, what will you do? That's why we need to have something called as critical thinking and questioning abilities, so that you know, when you open your mind, you rationally think and let the thoughts come in. Okay, so having an open mind doesn't mean just give away all the ethics and take whatever comes. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is have rational and critical thinking and know what to take in and what not to take in by using your questioning abilities. My favorite Richard Feynman is back again. Let's see what he has to tell now. Richard Feynman says here, you can know the name of a bird in all the languages of the world, but when you are finished, you'll know absolutely nothing whatsoever about the bird. So let's look at the bird and see what it's doing. That's what counts. I learned very early the difference between knowing the name of something and knowing something. I think this is extremely important for everyone. Please, I'll go through it once again. You can know the name of bird in all the languages of the world, but when you're finished, you'll know absolutely nothing whatsoever about the bird. So let's look at the bird and see what it's doing. That's what counts. I learned very early the difference between knowing the name of something and knowing something. In English literature, Oscar Wilde also puts this. He says, who needs a cynic who knows the price of all and value of none? Who needs such a cynic who knows the price of all? They know the price of everything. This is 20 rupees, this is 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, but they don't know the value. Do we need cynics like that? Oscar Wilde asks. Similarly, here Richard Feynman says, you may know the name of the bird in all different languages, but if you haven't observed the bird carefully, you'll actually not know anything about the bird. You may know all the rules of NACs. You may know how to have a NAC, how to handle a NAC committee, but if you don't know how to inspire students, you don't know how to motivate students, then it's a problem. So it's extremely important for you to understand. See, I'll give you an example. Why I tell these things are, it's very evident. First day, first show, cinemas are full. Children want tickets, they want to fight and go to the cinema. First class. How many students turn up when the college reopens? In many government colleges, we are waiting. First 1 week, nobody will come. We all know that. It's unwritten understanding. Even if college reopens, 1 week, nobody will come. Why is that? Why is that film actors who talk about, who advertise all sorts of horrible things? Dane dane mein kesar ka dam, they are telling. It is tobacco causing cancer, but they are selling dane dane mein kesar ka dam, as if they are selling dry fruits, cashew nuts, almonds. That's how they are advertising. Okay, children want to go watch them on screen, big screens. Our teachers are telling good things. See, you should study well, you should do well, you should take care of your parents. But none of the students want to listen. Why is that? Teachers are telling good things, students don't want to listen. Actors are telling bad things, students want to listen. Why is that? Because the way we are telling, the way we are inspiring, the methods that we are using is extremely boring and uninteresting for them. Yesterday, I did an interview of some students here. You know what they told? I was extremely happy that we got holidays because of COVID-19. I don't want to see the faces of those terrible teachers for another 2 months. Is this the compliment we need? Is this what we want? Unless we find a way to reach out to our students and take them back from the hands of these actors will take the students away from our classrooms. See, today an actor is addressing all assistant professors of Karnataka state government. An actor is talking about education. How will he know about education? No, he doesn't have to know. He'll only tell stories. See, once upon a time, there was a boy. The boy was like this. The boy, he'll tell a story, and everybody will listen. Oh my God, such an amazing story. Next day, the teacher has to go to the classroom and teach trigonometry. What method should the teacher use? Behaviorism, cognitivism, perennialism, idealism. What method the teacher has to use? Nobody knows. But this actor will tell a story and everybody will be like, ah ha ha ha, what a wonderful story. Next day you have to teach, my dear friends, what scientific method will you use? That is very important. Not listening to stories and telling, wow, what a beautiful story. It is good for Swamiji's, but not to teach in the class. To teach in the class, you need cognitive methods, you need scientific methods. You are teaching human brain. You should know about human brain. And unless and until you understand human brain, you can't teach human brain. What if a student gets up in the class and asks you, teacher, you're teaching me, what do you know about my brain? What will you do? You'll say it's not in the syllabus. I'll not give you marks if you ask such question. Will you say that? I know students are already scared. They won't ask such questions. I know. But what if there is a notorious student like me in your class who's not afraid to be failed, who's not afraid to come to your home and ask questions, who will not afraid to go to the vice chancellor, who is not afraid to go to the media? If there is such student, real citizen, okay, who knows their voting rights, what will you do then? What if that student organizes all the 1,000 students in your college and asks question? What will you do then? We have to empower the students and then inspire them. We don't have to disempower them and then thrive by putting them under fear. Okay, that won't work for long, because I am also going to different schools and colleges, you see. So I'll also inspire the students and they'll also ask a lot of questions. So be prepared now itself. Ability to perform under pressure. Again, I put a question mark. Should you perform under pressure? However, there are simple things which I think are extremely important to manage stress. For example, sports. Playing a bit of sports, walking, jogging, exercising will really help you overcome stress, because it gets all your muscles worked up, it gets you tired, you'll get wonderful sleep, and you'll get up as fresh as a cucumber. So it's extremely important for you to have physical activity where you get a lot of rest. Physical activity is not holding a remote and watching the TV. That is not a physical activity. You have to get up and walk, do some exercise at home. You don't have to go out. You can do half squats. You can do full squats. You can do sit-ups. Okay, you can do all these different kinds of exercises at home to get physically tired so that you can sleep well. Dancing, there are a lot of YouTube videos where even grandmothers can dance. Children will show you how to dance, and even grandparents, 85, 90-year-old, can dance watching those YouTube videos, which is also stress busting. Okay, you can laugh, good to laugh. Don't have to be grumpy all the time. Laugh, smile, do some exercise, dance, listen to music. In Kannada, we used to say, Sangeeta Sahitya Vihina Sakshat Pashuhu. If you don't listen to music, and if you don't read literature, you're like an animal, they say. So listen to music. There are wonderful music for all different generations. Listen to music, dance, sport, all these are different kinds of stress busting. There are unbelievable movies, something like Inception. Inception is such a movie which will help you imagine. It will help you improve science. NASA was inspired by Star Trek. When Star Trek lost USS Enterprise, NASA named its first satellite USS Enterprise. See, a sitcom like Star Trek inspired NASA. So there are wonderful movies which inspire you. So you can watch such movies, and good music. Okay, good music. I don't say violent music, good music. Then outdoor activities are important. If you don't have the threat of COVID-19, which I very much doubt, then you can have outdoor learning. What do you mean by outdoor learning? In one of my professors in Pennsylvania University called Pete Allison is the head of outdoor learning department. What is the outdoor learning is not very big in India, but they do in other countries. In outdoor learning, they take students on an expedition, not like what we take. They take on a mountaineering expedition, exploration expedition. In the process of the journey, they record all their experiences, and that's how experiences of expeditions, mountaineering, trekking, parasailing, hiking. They do all the experiences, what kind of emotional responses they came out with. This kind of learning also takes place through outdoor learning. That's also best way of stress busting. When our students go to the interview, the interviewer always asks them, are you able to work under pressure? Can you work under pressure? And our students say, of course, I can work under pressure. At that time, they look like him, Nicholas. And after 3 months, what will happen to our students? You can see there. So when you answer, yes, I can work under pressure, you better think again. You know what kind of pressure they're talking about. And this is also extremely important for stress busting. 90% of I played nationals in basketball, and 90% of my nationals of basketball came from my diet. What is 90%? The rest of 10% is workout. If you don't take good food, no matter how much you work out, it won't help. And it will also contribute to stress. And what can lead to stress, as you can look at in the poster that I have put up here, you forget to drink water, you have unhealthy food. By unhealthy food, they mean burger, chips, and all kinds of junk. And you try something called ketogenic diets. Okay, you forget. So that's extremely important. You're trying something new, but you're not really taking care of your health. Makes a big difference, and it leads to a lot of stress. Here is how stress works. This is how you are before work, and this is how you look after your work. So I always tell my students it's extremely important for you to identify what you truly love, because for the rest of your life you'll be doing that. If you find a passion for something and you feel that even after 50 years you won't get bored doing that, then you pursue it passionately. Otherwise, you go to metropolitan cities because you like some fancy work, you do something that you don't like, you wait for the weekends, and then you look like how this cat looks here after work, and you don't want it. Okay, and there is no artificial way to get over it. It's like saying that I don't love my wife, but I want to live with her all my life. If you don't love your wife, how will you spend all your life with her? It will be miserable. No technique will help there, because you'll be fighting at everything. Okay, so my suggestion is better find a wife or a husband whom you love. Okay, no artificial, or make sure your love grows, or find a way that your love grows. Find activities which you can do together so that the love blooms and that you have a happy existence. Next. See, this is extremely important. I request all of you not to neglect this. Please look at the pyramid of your diet, because if you want to overcome stress, the pyramid of diet is extremely important. It starts with whole grains, and it goes on to legumes and soya, and then fruits, vegetables, and then you have nuts and seeds, vegetable oils, dairy. If you like eggs, then you can. Well, even without eggs, you can manage. And then if you want to put some icing on top, you can have some very little sweets. That's why we start with a strong foundation, which is whole grain, legume, and soya, and going up to fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, dairy, eggs, and sweets. Then this is something our students have to learn, and even to the management you should be able to tell this. I said I'm able to work under pressure, not that I'll die for your company. Life is very short. Yes, I can manage a little amount of pressure, but that doesn't mean I'll kill my family life and I'll kill myself. Okay, and depression is extremely important. Don't take depression for granted. In the past we never used to hear these words, depression and all. Just say, oh, if you just give one on the head, everything will be fine. No. Now we have done a lot of research. Depression is extremely serious, so you have to talk it out. Okay, so don't just think that it will go away by itself. Okay, you have to talk to experts, you have to talk to people, you have to bring things out in the open. And adults and all the seniors, professors, you have to have a good listening ear. You have to listen. How can you expect children to listen to you when you don't listen to them? Listening is very important. So please listen. If they have any sorts of depression, if they are demonstrating any symptoms of depression, it is time for you to take serious steps. And it starts with listening. Go ahead, give it a turn. I work better under pressure. You can say it without knowing what it is doing to you. That's what this poster is telling. Okay, so don't take it lightly. This is a funny thing which I think is very important, even health wise. No matter what people say, I just can't work under pressure. I am such a person. I just can't work under pressure. I like to work in my own creative time, and that's why I don't like to work under pressure. Okay, coming next. Sir, you told all this. give us some solutions. Here are some simple solutions. If you look at the Feynman technique, what Feynman says is very simple. He says, pick a study topic, explain the topic to someone like a child who is unfamiliar with the topic, and at their level of understanding, use simple language. When you try this, believe me, try this. Go home, try to explain your children some topic that you've been teaching in schools and colleges. See their reaction. See the kind of questions these children ask. Then you'll identify the gaps in your knowledge. Okay? Return to the literature to understand it better. This technique works immensely. I can tell you a lot of other things today, a lot of things about educational philosophy and teaching learning methodology. But today, that's not the topic. That's why I'm trying my best to stick to the topic. Feynman technique is very simple. Okay? Propose a concept and then teach a child and then identify gaps, review and simplify, keep repeating it. Because Einstein always used to feel that unless he has a simple explanation of theory of relativity, he has not done it. So you know what Einstein used to do? When Einstein came up with theory of relativity, a child went and asked Einstein, what is theory of relativity? You know what the child said? You know what Einstein said? Einstein said, if a boy sits with a girl, an hour seems like a minute. Okay, pretty girl. And if you sit on a hot stove, a hot burning stove, a minute seems like an hour. This is theory of relativity. And since mathematicians have invaded this theory, I myself don't understand it anymore, Einstein says. Look at his simplicity. He explained such a great theory of relativity in such a simple manner. This is the kind of simplicity we teachers and professors should try to achieve. But I know many professors who want to use complicated words in their publishing. You know, they want to write complicated words unnecessarily and publish so that people might feel they have written something new and something original. There is a wonderful book about this. It's called Fashionable Nonsense. If someone, John Michael has written, if someone is interested, you can look it up. Read this book, Fashionable Nonsense and Beyond the Hoax. Okay, very interesting book. Don't use complicated unnecessary words. You try to simplify it as much as possible. Okay. Almost we are coming to the end, and I want to tell you all that we follow. See, many a times we think what parents tell is right, what seniors tell is right, what adults tell is good, and all that. But did you know there is a department which studies what is good? Yes, you heard me right. There is a department which studies what is good. What is good? ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? अच्छा क्या है? You know, there's a department which studies what is good, and it's called moral philosophy. Moral philosophy is a department just like chemistry, biology, anthropology, and engineering, mechanical, or any department for that matter. There is a department called moral philosophy which actually studies what is good. So there are hundreds of years of research on just what is good. Ethics does not study what is good. Ethics is the child of moral philosophy. Ethics says we have 10 paths, which one is better? Ethics says we have 10 paths, which one is better? 10 more, how many ever? What I mean is there are different paths. Which path is relatively better? All those 10 paths may not be good according to moral philosophy, but ethics tries to find out of these options, which one is better. A teacher is an ethical being, a doctor is an ethical being, a parent is an ethical being, a student is an ethical being. We all have our own ethics. That's why there is medical ethics, there is ethics for teaching, there is ethics for all different departments. So to understand how we come to these ethical decisions, there are theories. Based on theories, ethical decisions are taken. For example, there is something called utilitarian ethics. It is brought by John Stuart Mill. In utilitarian ethics, they say you have to maximize benefit and minimize pain. That's why when civil engineers have to construct a bridge and the houses have to be demolished, the civil engineers give them compensation and give them place elsewhere. Okay, that's maximized because the flyover will help thousands of people, so they'll demolish the houses. They'll construct a flyover. That is maximizing benefit, minimizing pain. You understand? There are a lot of these different ethical theories based on which teachers can take ontological ethics, virtue ethics. There are different theories but I want to meet you all personally after COVID-19. Come to your schools and colleges and inspire you personally on all these different topics. For now, it's important for you to know that there are these ethical theories which study, and there are these moral philosophies which study these aspects. Then, back to Richard Feynman. This is something I like, which he said, most remarkable discovery in all of astronomy is that the stars are made of atoms of the same kind as those on Earth. Do you understand what it means? What he's trying to say is, we look at the star in wonder. You see, oh my God, the star is so amazing. The star is so fantastic. Stars look amazing, right? We've written so many poems on the stars, even from nursery rhymes to everything we've written on stars. But what Feynman says is the greatest discovery of astronomy is the stars are made of the same atoms of which Earth is made of. Even the Earth is made of the same atoms of which the stars are made of. Okay, that's why I like to end my talk with something I really love. This is for everyone. I hope you're listening. Please be humble, for you are made of earth. Be humble, for you are made of earth. Be noble, for you are made of stars. I'll repeat, be humble, for you are made of earth. Be noble, for you are made of stars. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And finally, I think I have, please go through the details. There you go. Yes, you can find my email address over there, and my Facebook ID is there. Just type Sagar space AH. You'll find me on Facebook. You can add me up. You can ask me questions there. Or if you like Instagram, if you are Insta person, then you can type Sagar Earthling and you can add me on Instagram. YouTube, type Sagar Earthling. You'll find my YouTube channel, all my television interviews and all other videos you can watch on Sagar Earthling. Even Twitter, you can tweet me on Sagar Earthling. See, teachers are also trying to get updated. Okay, we are trying to reach all the platforms where our students are. We are trying our best. So like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon and encourage teachers also. Thank you very much for your patience. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask.
Thank you, Professor Sagar, for your eloquent and enlightening presentations. Perhaps the participants must have been thoroughly enjoyed this session. And in fact, the chat box is full of appreciation. And you guys definitely deserve it. No doubt, no doubt, you have been able to make a subtle difference between the old, the middle, and the young with your own interpretation. And even the reference may not be only to age, the reference may be to the mindset. There can be a young boy in an old man, there can be an old boy in a young man. Obviously, what matters is the spirit of inquiry, the spirit
Very true.
of
Very
learning,
true.
the spirit of learning.
Correct.
They matter much. It is true. Uh, Most of the colleges across the country in India have been busy preparing for their NAC, no doubt in it. But at least in the pretense of going for a NAC, we are all made to compulsorily learn many things. No? Though we cannot avoid, you
True.
see, it is a inevitable evil. We all have to face it, no doubt in it. But let's
True.
enjoy
True.
it.
True.
Let's enjoy it. I don't want to use a statement. I can privately use it, but this is not a forum for me.
Correct.
Uh, Once we chat, I will
Correct.
tell you another statement in the same case, the same context.
Correct. Correct.
Uh, uh, Professor, you have brought out the impact of the stress. How does stress work? How does stress impact on our work culture, be it any organization? And you have given a solution also at the same time. And even with regard to the time management, your inputs are quite practical. If we can relate the time management and working under pressure and adaptability, uh,
Okay.
let's not look into them in isolation. If we can comprehensively fuse all these components, I think they will definitely prepare our youngsters and our young teachers to face this
Correct.
life and look at life with more rationality. Yes, please. Yes, please.
So, a lady called Komal Mahajan has asked that taxonomy has changed.
Bloom's
Yes, she's right.
taxonomy.
Yeah, Bloom's taxonomy is old. There are new taxonomies now called transdisciplinary themes, and there are also something called Cat-Murdoch cycle. A lot of new research-oriented methodologies have come because this it was not in the topic. That's why I didn't address all of them. So yes, Madam Komal Mahajan, Madam. So yes, transdisciplinary themes have come in, and there's something called Cat-Murdoch cycle. Very interesting. Next time, perhaps when I get time, I'll certainly discuss with you all
Surely,
regarding.
we'll have one more session on it. In fact, yesterday when we were chatting, you were making a reference to Bloom's taxonomy. It's almost 50 years old, which has been vehemently practiced in most of the engineering colleges across India. If that is the
Exactly.
case, we have to really make an introspection and try to set right these infirmities that we have inherited, rather inherent infirmities that we have inherited. It's a time to make an introspection and reflect upon them and try to address these problems. I think after the advent of the NAC in the last 25 years, at least some visible change has taken place in higher educations. Though NAC is a pretense, but this pretense need not be only a pretense, but it's a greatest opportunity for teachers and students to learn many new things and to indulge in many activities. As you were making a reference to creativity, yes, it's indeed a most required component in every human being in all the organizations. And as you said, I also like and love to practice and have been practicing for the last 10 years. This is my 11th year as a teacher, principal,
Oh,
not principal, teacher
yeah.
principal. Therefore, I love to take care of my faculty wherever I have gone with lot of love, lot of concern, and a lot of regard. I don't see consider anybody inferior or superior to me. I consider even a peon from down to peon to
Correct.
principal, all are equal
That
because
is
this is how the
that is
organization has to be
greatness. Yeah.
run. Therefore, that
True.
really appealed to me because when we practice certain values, they are more endearing to us. I think you have
Correct.
brought out many hidden, secretly practiced some of the values that I have been involved in for all these years. And
True. True.
you were almost venting out all those engraved values that I have for the last decade plus.
True.
Thank
True.
you very much. Thank you very much. I think today's session must have really made all the participants very happy and enlightening because the chat box itself speaks of their the instant response. I'm really grateful to all the participants for their enthusiastic participation. Uh, as usual, I would like to tell that, dear participants and those who are not able to be accommodated during this live session, will be having a chance to look at these proceedings once we record. In fact, the recording is almost over. We will
Okay.
upload it to our YouTube channel, and moreover, our Professor Basuraj is already live on the Facebook.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think
Okay.
I don't want to take much of your time. Thank you, Professor Sagar, for your wonderful presentation, and keep meeting. We shall chat
Sure.
again this evening. Thank you, participants.
Sure.
Thank you, coordinators. Thank you, my faculty, for your wonderful support in conducting this program. With these words,
Thank you very
we
much.
end up today's session. As usual, tomorrow our session begins at 10:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, bros.
Wonderful. End ಮಾಡು.
ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಹೇಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಂದ್ರಿ ವಿಡಿಯೋ
He was in England first. Yes. ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಆ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಕರ್ಸಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ನಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ಸಿದ್ದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ ನಂಬರ್ ಎಸ್